O Allah, guide me among those whom thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what thou hast judged. Surely thou judgest, and none can judge against thee, and he whom thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art thou, O Lord, and exalted be thee above what they set up besides thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is thy servant and apostle. Amen.
This is Sister Sajdah Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajdah House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. As we renovate and restore the former home of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have recycled the old copper gutters and downspouts and created a 1 ounce 39 millimeter coin made of 100% pure copper. Each coin is professionally graded and has its own barcode and registration number. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahhouse.com.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
Peace and blessings, family. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, grand rising to everyone. Thank you for joining the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. And I thought this morning we're going to start off talking about pushing through pain and adversity. And so I'm going to show a video about that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about real estate. We're going to talk about the real estate game. But I think it's always important that we all make sure that we stay focused, right? There's so much information out here. We're in I call this just information overload. It's a data-driven society, right? So there's data, there's information, there's stuff happening all around us. And sometimes in order for Allah or the universe or whatever you say, I say Allah, excuse me, to get our attention, he has to kind of do something that's going to ignite an emotional response. And that emotional response is the attention getter to sometimes say, go this way. One of the things that I am really grateful for about myself is my ability to be consistent and to push through. Mistakes happen. You're going to get embarrassed. You're going to do stuff that maybe other people don't think you should do. You're going to have people evaluating you, taking score, looking at you. Sometimes they're looking to see, did she win yet? Sometimes they're looking to see, did she quit yet? Sometimes they're looking to say, is she dead yet? But, it is what it is because So anyway, we're going to watch this quick video. And then we're going to come back and put it in context with business and real estate. Okay? So hang on here 1 second. We're going to do this.
How do you keep going? Why do you keep going? When the world says everything else is supposed to be opposite. Pain is a repetition of the psyche. Until you learn how to figure it out, until you learn how to tap it on the back and say, I know you there, but I'm built to deal with you. I don't want nobody to leave here today and not understand why we must find a way to push through pain to understand that's on the other side of that is glory.
Do not take the easy way out. Do not give up based on instinct. If you are forced to stand down, to retreat so that you can rebuild and reattack, so be it. But make that decision based on logic, not on the instinct of surrender and defeat. And you need to train that instinct. Your instinct. Train it to say, get up, go, fight on. And if that is what you become, if that becomes your fundamental reaction to adversity, if that becomes your gut instinct, then you will overcome just about anything that stands in your path.
There's two sides of pain that I don't think a lot of people really understand, right? There's one side of pain that's the suffering and the discomfort side of pain. That's why everybody raised their hands when I first asked, have everybody ever been through pain? Because that hurts. You remember what that felt like. But then there's another side of pain that's called effort. It's called glory. It's called if you can find a way to push through pain, there's something greater on the other side of it. And if you never tap into it, it's because the first time you felt it, you backed off. The first time you felt, that burn, the first time you felt that it's too much. And we rationalize with ourselves to where we automatically stop. That's why a bunch of us give up so much in life so quickly. That's why kids have a problem finishing things in today's time. Because as soon as they feel a small bit of discomfort, of things ain't right, they're gone. I can't do it no more. But suppose I told you the greatest pain of my life is the reason I'm standing here today. Well, sometimes your greatest pain, it ain't even about you. It's about a greater purpose. That if you can find a way to push through, that if you can find a way to not make it about you, learn to appreciate the occasional storms that come in your life. Just learn to appreciate how small they are, the occasional storms that come every day. And then that's the ingredient of how you really deal with pain, figuring that out. Stop crying.
That was a good one, huh? He ended it with, stop crying. I found that interesting because I think a lot of you know, or some of you who've been listening, you know my journey through emotional intelligence and learning to deal with my sensitivities. And I had to learn that when I feel something, instead of reacting to how I felt immediately, I had to take some time, and kind of dig through and figure out, what is this emotion? What is this situation, trying to tell me? What is it saying to me? I had to learn how to figure that out. But you see, that's the key to winning in business and doing anything that you might be afraid of, or anything that you think that somebody else is telling you you shouldn't do, is learning how to push through, learning how to persevere. Did you all know that I've been blogging on either Blog Talk Radio or on a podcast since 2009? And did you know that when I first started, there were many times, I used to do my podcast on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. There were many times when there was nobody on there but me talking to me. And then I started to invite guests, because that way I would have somebody on there. And some of those early shows are my most popular and most downloaded shows. But I didn't give up. I didn't keep going, because there was something in me that knew that this mindset information was important. And I tell you why it was important to me, because I started to think about, how often is my life or my experiences influenced by somebody who don't understand me and don't even know where I'm going from or where I'm coming from. And I said, how often are we taking advice, so-called millionaire advice, from people making $70,000, $80,000 a year? How often are we trying to take career advice from people who don't even have a career? And as I started to look at my own resume, I said, you know what? There's a niche that I have. on how to start a business and fail, how to fail a business and then start a new one, and how to grow those businesses to multi-million-dollar businesses, how to understand the vicissitudes of those businesses and understand how to take what you see in your mind's eye and make it materialize. There are people who we listen to who don't even know how to do that. And so even before 2009, I had people saying to me, you know, all your writings, you should put them out. You know, like the Mind of an Entrepreneur book was really a compilation of my writings. And I got so many more writings. I haven't put out the next one because I have a financial goal that's attached to it. Because I realized that with each goal that we accomplish, we have to become a different person. We have to change. And so what I did not want to do was get out in front of you and teach theory. I didn't want to be somebody that had some level of authority over your life or level of influence over your life. And I didn't even have the influence that I didn't have the experience to be worthy of the influence, if that makes sense. That's a big problem for us, you know, especially as marginalized people, as I say in my book. I say that marginalization is an equal opportunity offender. Why? Because when people marginalize you, that's a predatory capitalism strategy that is used a lot in our community or communities. But people marginalize you. They want to push you outside the circle. And what I say to you is sometimes being on the perimeter, the circumference of the circle ain't that bad, because you generally can see better than people who are right there in the vortex of the circle or right there in that center point of the circle. But what happens is you experience this marginalization in your corporation, your organization, your circle, wherever you are, you get marginalized. And then what happens, either somebody who doesn't know you, doesn't know where you're going, or who doesn't even take the time to ask you, they decide that you should be marginalized. You get marginalized, and then they're influencing you. And I said, how many of my people are like that? Because I was going through that in corporate, and I had gone through that in other organizations. And I said, well, I don't want to be that person. I want to be that person that teaches people mindset and techniques on how to make what's going on in their mind come into fruition. People who have a vision and who want to say, no, I want to see this vision manifested. I want to see it come to life. So much of what you see around me, you see me experience, you see me working through making a vision come to life. And there's vicissitudes of the life of that project coming into existence. So I think that's so important, and it's so critical for us to understand. And so that's why if you decide that you want to book a coaching session with me, one of the things you'll know is that I'm teaching you how to pull up your authentic self, your authenticity, and then figure out how to create a vision around who you authentically are. See, because that's your mojo. We're in a data-driven world. So we have culture vultures using data all around us, copying and mimicking what we do and what we say. And then in turn, what they do is they then go out and then create a system around it. Then you see the challenges and things like that on TikTok, or you may see a company change their policies and procedures. I remember in, I think, around 2000, maybe 12, 13, I was doing some consulting work with a hospital and wrote a proposal that was based on a healthcare system that I thought the hospital should adopt, because we were in a situation where the hospital had a large number of ER visits according to the data, but they weren't converting them into patients. So the hospital wasn't making ongoing money because they were just seeing people and sending them out the door, and the service in the ER was so bad that people weren't coming back. And so I sat down with my business partner and we talked about this whole concept called a circle of care, wrote it up, presented it to the hospital and to a federal organization. And then in 2015, when they sent out their policies and procedures for 2016, my proposal was woven through those policies and procedures and really was the basis of the change in the policies and procedures. And I said, you know what? This is not just happening to me. It's happening to all of us. This is the beginning of a trend. This is part of the marginalization. So we pull the data from you and I and then marginalize you. So because we're all kind of battling that on a day-to-day basis, many of us are stuck in jobs or positions where we don't know who we are. We don't have anything for ourselves. And so when you start talking about things like real estate and opening a business and doing for self, we get so caught up with all the misinformation that we don't realize that there's holes and gaps and there's blessings out here for us. So I want to talk about real estate in that vein, because right now you guys are sending me so many notes and questions asking me, do you think that we're about to have a real estate bubble? Is it about to burst? And I think now with social media, and more of us are studying, and we have more people in our community that are teaching us about economics and things like that, that we hear a lot of these buzzwords and stuff, and we get a little bit more frightened than maybe we normally would. But you know, I always say this to people, that there were more millionaires and billionaires made and developed during the Great Depression than just about any other time in modern history. There were more Black millionaires made right after slavery, right after 1865. So what I'm saying is that the controversy, the economy, the issues shouldn't scare you from being successful, shouldn't prevent you and I from being manifestors, and it shouldn't prevent us from navigating in this world successfully. We talked about on Thursdays during manifestation class and the accomplishments of the Muslims about how the $75 million empire that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad created as an example for us was built during some of the worst economic times in modern day history, when we had 20% interest rates. Think about that. So you hear all this stuff on TV, right? You hear about the feds raising interest rates, which is the wholesale rate, which ultimately can impact mortgage rates. You hear about prices going up, down. Price usually follows demand, right? So when the demand for something is high, the price of that product or good or service is generally high or will go up. When the demand is low, then the price will generally go down. So, and you got to think about that in the microcosm of your business and your personal economy. Okay. So keeping that in mind with real estate, people are, the interest rates, all this stuff going up. But guess what? If you hear on the news that the real estate industry is declining, mortgage rates are going up, it's harder to get a mortgage, this might be the time for you to shop for a mortgage lender who is willing to work with you. Why? Because they may not have that much to do. They may not be busy with the so-called perfect customer, because all the so-called perfect customers are watching the news and they at home on the couch scared. What happens if you walk into that office and say, you know what, would you work with me? What do I have to do to qualify for this home or that home? Maybe this is the time for you to dig into your authentic self and find a good or service that you can offer to the public. Because remember, a lot of people are offering the same services and the same food and the same stuff over and over again. What's the difference? The difference is the experience and the person who's delivering it. That's why it's so important for you and I to find what makes us unique, what's authentic about you, and you tie that to your brand or service. And then you sell the experience of being with you, of knowing you. So when you come to my workshops, my webinars, when you work with me, what are you getting? You're getting the fulfillment of who I am based on that subject in that business world. So if I had to break that down to characteristics, you're getting somebody with perseverance. You're getting someone with a good technical background in the work that she does. You're getting someone who can show you how to line yourself up with those blessings. You're getting with a manifester, among other things. And you're also getting with somebody who, I'm not selfish. I'm blessed that way to not be selfish. So if you sit with me within an hour or so, I'm gonna give you a plan for your life, and I'm gonna be checking to see how's it going, how you doing. I'm not sitting there saying, how can I win? I'm saying, how can I help you win? That was a trait that I learned that I had, and I said, well, why not turn that into a coaching strategy? It was a friend of mine, probably back in the early 2000s, who was talking to me one day, and he's what they would call the street guy. And he said, you have this thing about you where you want people to win, and people take advantage of that. And I remember a light bulb going off in my head, not a light bulb that went off that said, no, I don't want these people to win, but a light bulb that went off that said, that's my coaching strategy. We were just starting to get into coaching and training. And I said, I don't want to be a cheerleader. I don't want to be a motivational coach. And then through that, I started getting that bug. And then I started to think about, so it wasn't until like 2009, like maybe 7 or 8 years later, when I decided that I would go into putting information out there, because I wanted to have a certain amount of personal success. So I didn't open my mouth until I had receipts. I can't tell you how many classes I've been in and how much money I've invested or wasted. But I say invested because I invested in people who had workshops and seminars who didn't have any receipts for what they were doing. I posted something on Instagram that was on the Breakfast Club, and there was a financial advisor on there saying, you can't sit down with an advisor who's making $40,000, $50,000 and expect them to be able to teach you how to be a millionaire. There's no offense against anybody, but they just don't know how. They can help you technically with certain services, but they don't know how. And after I have built millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of businesses for other people, I then said, now let me figure out what I have to overcome within myself. Because at the end of the day, the movement in my business, the movement in my manifestation flow is a reflection of who I am. So if I'm standing now on a new level and the flow is not what I want, then what I do is I go into myself and I say, okay, what do I need to change? What do I need to improve? What do I need to work on that will generate the flow at this level that I want and that I'm looking for? And a lot of times that's not what people are teaching you. So a lot of us are sitting on the couch going, I'm ready to buy a house. Some of us have been paying rent, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, especially if you're on the East or West Coast, for years. You've been paying somebody else's mortgage. Yeah, granted, you got a roof over your head, but you've really been paying someone else's mortgage for years. That is money and equity that you could have put into yourself. And so I say to people that sometimes real estate is a building process. I started off with a one-bedroom condo. I said, you know what? Instead of paying $1,500 a month to somebody else, I'm going to get a condo and I'm going to try to find where that mortgage amount can be about the same. I wasn't trying to keep up with the Joneses. I don't care what you got. I don't care what the next person got. I said, let me get in this game. How do I get in this game? I got to buy something at the level in which I'm at. I stopped financing cars because I had 2 cars repossessed. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to be driving around in something that somebody can come and get from me. So I'm going to save my money. And if that means I got to buy a $4,000 car, a $5,000 car, I used to drive a $400 car. And why did I do that? Because I said it's mine. Why did I just get the 1-bedroom apartment and maybe not the 1-bedroom condo and maybe not the 2-bedroom? Because I said it's mine. And so during the downturn in the economy, I use that as an opportunity to level up. So I want you to not, that's why I played that video about fear at the beginning, so that you're not caught up, in fear. Because that's what the commercials and the media, fear is an easy way to get people to move. Because if we can make somebody scared, then what do? Then we can tell them what to do. If we take away your security, make you worry, then they can tell you what to do. Oh, you scared of this happening? Go buy this, go do that. You think the world is going to run out of toilet paper, so we want you to go buy toilet paper. So now there's no toilet paper in the store. I mean, there's all that, all those things. So I'm saying to you right now, there are real estate deals out there. If you don't have the cash, if you haven't saved up enough to have the cash, but you got enough maybe for a 10, 20% down payment on something, then go sit with somebody and say, hey, what can you help me qualify for? Because, and when I work with mortgage people in the mortgage industry, and I bring a client to them or talk to them about a client, I said, look, and I'm gonna start doing a whole webinars next month on this. I'm sorry. If I got a client that's been paying $3,000 a month, for the last 10 years, that's a person that can afford a mortgage. If you've been paying your rent and you up in the thousands, most of y'all are living in nice places that you've been paying for, they ain't put you out, you can afford a mortgage. And so go and sit with somebody and say, how can I qualify? Right now, they ain't that busy. And they want a deal just as much as you want a house. Then when you get ready to go out there and go shopping, know that you're worthy. Know that you deserve it. See, I'm a firm believer that God would never put me in a position to be dependent upon somebody who don't like me, who's going to hurt me, who's going to put me in a bad position. So when I get ready to go shopping for a deal, for real estate, for putting a business together, whatever it is I'm getting ready to go do, I'm going out, I'm educating myself. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, you start finding the deal. You got people out here getting divorced and they're offloading properties that are worth more than the asking price. I've been blessed in deals like that before. You have people who started development. When we went to build the micro hospital in Maryland, the land that we found, there were still about $1 million worth of environmental and permit work that was still open and active because somebody else had started a project of putting together a medical facility on that land, and they walked away from the permits and stuff. And we didn't know that when we closed on the land. So I'm saying that to you is that there are blessings out there, and you got to walk like you know it. You're going to walk right into deals. Whenever I've bought a piece of property, it's been based on a deal or about a situation where maybe it was stuck and nobody wanted to do it. My brother was reminding me yesterday that the agent who was working for the bank for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's house said to him, if one more such and such Muhammad call me about this house, I'ma scream. I'm not talking to no more Muhammads about this house. And my brother said, well, this Muhammad is serious. And this Muhammad is going to make it happen. And so as we started to go through the process, see, all that barking and talking was BS, because at the end of the day, your God is probably money, and you want to make this money just as much as I want this transaction to be successful. So stop barking, shut your mouth, and let's put this deal together. And so sometimes you got to cut through some of that emotion and some of that drama, because there are blessings out there. There's just people trying to talk you out of it. When we were building the micro hospital, there were people calling on the phone in the healthcare industry, threatening us, threatening our lives. We didn't take that lightly. But at the same time, we believed that God would protect us, and that he would take care of us. I remember my business partner and I sitting in the office one night, and we just looked at each other. I said, I know Allah got us. I said, because we way down this road. And I just don't think that he would have allowed us to overcome all of these hurdles over the past 2 years of trying to build this micro hospital. All the hurdles that we built with opening the clinics and now trying to consolidate them. I don't think he would have blessed us with this victory. I said, so now guess what? This is a math problem. And so he and I looked at each other, and I say that to this day, this is a math problem. So this is a complex problem. I just got to figure out what the solution to the math problem is. But see, when you're scared of math and you don't know how to critically think, you don't know how to think mathematically, it can become a problem. But guess what? God can help you with that. You just got to know that there is a God who is directly involved in your affairs, because at the end of the day, God wants to make himself known. So when we sat there, I said, this is a math problem. We were sitting there because we had a day where we were just being harassed on the phone. I tell people, I was just telling a friend of mine last week, she was like, oh, how's your project in Chicago going? I said, girl, the vicissitudes of that project absolutely tell me that this is a great project. She's like, what do you mean? I said, oh, from the attacks, the threats, the drama, the intervention, the tricks, all of that. And I said, it's a big math problem. But I'm good at math because I got the master teacher on my side. And so that's how I always looked at things. If I was putting together a big project, and I tell you that, if you have a session with me, I tell you that, listen, you're trying to do for self. We're trying to be free and have our own. It is just look at it like a big math problem. How do I figure this out mathematically? What are all my variables? What direction do I need to go in? But I will tell you, you cannot be afraid. You have to have logic. You have to have intellect. You have to think your way through. But if you're trying to start a business, you're trying to introduce a much needed good and service into your community, you're trying to buy a house, you're trying to buy a piece of commercial property, you can do it. Excuse me, regardless of what the economic times are. I don't care what they say about the economy. Mortgage rates going up, okay. Houses are scarce. There's a house out there for you. There's a business out there for you. There's something out there that you're supposed to be doing. It's your turn. And you got to move like that. You got to know that. Make a decision. I'm not paying nobody else's mortgage anymore. I want my own place. And you know what happens to a lot of us? Even once we buy a place, we still live in it like we don't own it. We still live in it like it's not ours. I tell my clients, I say, you know what? When you close on that business, you go outside, you take your shoes off, and you stand in the yard. Feel the dirt. Walk around that house and look at every inch of that house. Look at everything in your house that you have manifested. I don't care if it's a book or an ink pen. And you say, God bless me to manifest this. I figured out the math problem and what it would take to go and buy this ink pen. I bought it at Walgreens. It cost a certain amount of money. I figured out where to get the money from, how to do it. I can do this with anything that I want. Most of us are really good at manifesting things that people say we can't have. Many of us are good at manifesting things because we see somebody else with it. I'm saying take that energy and turn it around and do what God has you on the planet to do. Most of us are so busy running around because we heard that so-and-so bought a house in this neighborhood and I'm going to get me a house over there. I like that because we like the energy that a person got when they bought a house in this neighborhood or when they purchased this type of car. So we want to go out and do it because we want to have that same feeling. Maybe that ain't for you. So what I'm saying, we got to go into ourselves, find our own authentic self and figure out where's your stuff. Where are the props and the energetic activity that you need in your life in order for you to fulfill whatever goal and what you showed up on the planet to do. Don't be mad at somebody else because you stagnant. Don't be mad at somebody else because you're using deceptive intelligence to say, well, I'm still sitting here because I'm waiting on XYZ. At the end of the day, you got to figure something out. So make that move. Take that step. Don't let this economy or these economic trends or the things that you've heard on television stop you, or that you've seen on the internet, stop you from getting whatever it is that you want. I have sisters that we talk all the time. It's like, man, now I'm in my early 50s. How am I going to find a husband? How am I going to find a man? Because now my life has become so complex and bigger than maybe what the men that I seek and handle. And I subscribe to this philosophy. Allah is making men every day. And he know how to make somebody that's right for you and I. He's making women every day, brothers. So if you saying, man, you know, I've been single for a while, or I'm divorced and I don't know, you know, how I'm going to get that person that I'm looking for. Look, there is a God and he's making people every day. So that house you're looking for is out there. That relationship you're looking for is out there. That life you're looking for is out there. It's just a big math problem you got to figure out how to solve. That's it. That's it. That's all. Let me see what y'all talking about in these comments today. Because, see, we take real estate and everybody say, I want to learn how to do it. The process of doing it ain't that hard. You either got the money and you go buy it, and you hire people like an attorney and a real estate agent to put the contract together, or you don't have the money and you go get a mortgage and you hire somebody to sell you money to go get the house. It's really just that simple. A lot of times those barriers are the fact that sometimes those people who are the stewards of those relationships tend to block us. There's so many real estate agents out here. There's so many mortgage companies out here. You can find somebody that'll work for you. There's so much inventory, so many houses out here. See, this data they put on TV, they lie so much. There's so many lies. I listen to radio, Bloomberg radio, all the financial, and I hear all the financial experts talking because they know we live in a data-driven world. So everybody's trying to talk and impact the economy with their words. I was listening to a show the other day and there was a banker on there and he came and said, no, we're not in a recession. And then somebody else came and said, I think there was the company, the parent company for Olive Garden and those restaurants that said, yeah, we're seeing a slowdown. If you understand how to analyze the information that these different industries are putting out there, then you understand what's happening. So I was listening to them saying, well, unemployment. No, what do they say? There's not enough jobs. Somebody said there was not enough jobs. And I said, wait a minute. I said, just about every company I know is short-staffed. I walked into Dunkin' Donuts the other day and they said, please be patient with us. We're short-staffed. And if you get mad enough, just fill out an application. Because everybody needs people. So where's everybody at? Where's all these people who are unemployed? Because I didn't get the memo. I'm still working for myself. But why is everybody short-staffed? Why are there labor shortages and labor issues everywhere? Small businesses, large businesses, everybody's hiring. Why? They're not saying that on television. What they saying to you is, oh, the unemployment rate is high and people can't find a job and blah, 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 blah. Everybody's hiring. Everybody's saying now hiring, want to be a part of the team. And if they ain't hiring, they should be hiring. So they're lying about the data that they're putting out there. So what I'm saying to you is look at it, analyze it, but go on out here and get your blessings. Get the house you wanted. Get whatever you wanted. Because at the end of the day, It's all about your ability to manifest anyway. Now, if you know you can't afford, you really probably shouldn't get $1,000 car payment right now. That's up to you. But if you can figure out the math on how to make it work. When I started thinking about, let me say this last thing. This is not something I'm proud of. I probably got $50,000, $100,000 worth of purses over the years. Need a room for my purses. And one day I said, you know what? If you stop spending $5,000 and $6,000 on purses and take every time you feel like you want to get that new purse, that Louis Vuitton, that now everybody's carrying Louis Vuitton so much, it's the most counterfeited bag ever. But if you stop doing that, how many businesses could you have? And so every time that $4,000 to $5,000, I start saying, all right, we're going to open a business with this. And this small business that I start, this is going to pay the utilities. This one's going to pay for that office. This one's going to pay for these bills, this set of bills. And I started working those pipelines of businesses using money that I used to spend on bullshit. Purses, jewelry, going out around the holiday time and going to Black Friday and standing in line like I'm not going, I'm gonna miss something. Taking that money and investing it, saving that money. When people say, how in the world you pay that much cash for the house? Well, if you think about it, I'm making money. But because I'm trying to let people know that I'm making money, this is the mindset that I was in back then. I was spending money. I got so much stuff. I got more stuff than I know what to do with. So I'm not buying no more stuff. I start trading stuff. Let's trade that car for this. I can sell that piece of art and get maybe one piece of art and a business. I can have a second residence over here with the money that I'm spending on this or that. See, we know how to manifest when we want to. And I'm just saying, just switch up. Just change your priorities. Change your priorities. What do I invest in? I invest in my home. I invest in myself, my personal body, my well-being, my education. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on classes and seminars and workshops and all kinds of stuff like that. Teaching, educating myself, constantly studying. I spend 1 to 2 hours every single day studying something, whether it's my lessons or the Holy Quran, or whether it's real estate or any of these other things back here that I have my interest in. I start trying to live a more creative and spirit-filled life. Okay, Allah, how can I have fun with allowing you to come through me in another way today, or in another project, or something else that I'm working on? So I'm saying to you that those people who are in front of those deals are not more powerful, don't have to be more powerful than you and your desire and what it is that you want. There's no mortgage person who's making $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 a year more powerful than your blessing, than the person who gives you your blessings. If God said, you know what, I want brother so-and-so or sister so-and-so, them to have that house, or to have that car, or to have that business, or to serve their people in that manner, there ain't nobody that can stand between that and stand in front of that except you, unless you just stop unless you just stop because you're afraid of what they're going to say. And don't get me wrong, y'all, people going to talk. There's a lot that comes with having certain successes and having people see you be able to manifest. People going to talk about you. They're going to marginalize you. They're going to be more worried about your business than you are. Your weight is going to bother them. Your age is going to bother them. Your marital status is going to bother them. Where you live is going to bother them. They're going to sit up and spend hours talking about you. And you just got to be okay with that. Like, that's y'all's business. Because I'm about to go over here and do what I do. I'm about to go over here and get close to the owner of the blessings, which is Almighty God Allah. There is no God but Allah. I'm about to get closer to him and see how he want to come through me. Give y'all something else to talk about. I can't remember if it was my father or my mother used to say, give them something to talk about. So you just gotta, you gotta toughen up through this thing, y'all. All right, family, peace and blessings. Brother said, I know a sister that made a business cleaning purses and tennis shoes. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. A Woman's Strength said the country is in a recession, but we as individuals don't have to be. Yeah, that ain't got nothing to do with me and you. That is just the economic conditions that are around us. And it's just additional variables to the math problem that we are trying to solve. You don't have to sit down and say, okay, the country's in a recession. Inflation is at this number. Oh my God, I can't do it. Guess what? You figure it out. That's a very American or European thing where we look at what the economists say and base our actions on that. When you go to certain third world countries, like if you're in Nigeria, we would come there as Americans and look around and go, man, it's bad around here, or it's a economic slowdown around here. But they're not looking at it like that. They looking at, how can I, within this condition, continue to manifest? So they just look at things differently. But as it's interesting, because as colonized people, we're taught to look at things the way the colonizer does. But again, when you go to certain countries, they don't look at things like that. So yeah, there might be a recession. Yeah, interest rates might be at this or that. That's just an additional variable that you have to consider on your road to success. It's no different than if you're moving in a certain direction with your business and a supply chain gets shut down. Or something that you were looking to do, all of a sudden you're like, I thought I was going to have that method of sales. Okay, let me figure it out. So it's just additional variables that you include in your equation. Okay, thank you all. Thank you all for your support. Thank you. Listen, I need you all to go out here, get your commemorative Elijah coins. These here, I think we've sold maybe about 20 in the last 2 weeks. So we had a little uptick, but it's still not as much as we would like, right? So I want you all to go out here, support. Let me get the banner. Hold on. Support the renovation and restoration of the former home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is the donation link at the bottom, but to get the commemorative Elijah coin that has your membership on the back, just go to sajdahhouse.com and get the coin. This is a very rare and precious heirloom. Again, remember, this whole thing with copper, y'all know I've been telling y'all, copper is the new oil. Even in I can't give out investment advice, so this is not investment advice. But when I see certain stocks start to plummet, I'm like, oh, shoot, let me get in on that. And I did that with copper. And I start seeing my portfolio expand because I said, well, because I look at everything. I look for Allah in everything. I said, well, if Allah gave me inspiration behind the old copper that was on the house, there's something to copper. As I started researching, I started realizing like, it's the copper and the cobalt that's going to be powering the electric vehicles. And now I see GM making this huge investment in electric batteries and ways to power their old gas cars electronically. I saw Goldman Sachs say copper is the new gold, or copper is the new oil. And I said, thank you, dear Holy Apostle. I knew we was on to something. I knew we was on to something. Now we just got to get people to catch on to the value of these coins. And I know we will. So go out there, go to sajdahhouse.com, because there is nothing that I've ever been inspired, that I know was divinely inspired, that didn't turn out to be absolute magic. So get in on the magic. Get your commemorative Elijah coin. All right. So also, y'all know not to chip and dip me. I think I gave y'all some good information and some good motivation today, and how to look at this thing, how to look at this economy, how to shift the way you see things. When you see, I don't care if you're looking at CNN and they say interest rate is going up, employment is high, inflation rate is high, blah, 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 blah. Those are just numbers. That's just data. And you just have to figure out how to use that number and that data to get what you want, to cut through and get whatever it is that you want. Now's the time. There's mortgage people who are willing to work with you. Now's the time. I firmly believe that we are going to see a sizable transference of wealth. And it's happening now, but in the very, very near future. And those of us that are set up for it will be ready, especially those of us who know then how to get our survival kits together, how to make sure that we're ready. We can prosper and we can win through this process that we're going through as an economy, as a country. People in third world countries been doing it. It's just a shift for us in these European colonized world. We're not used to going to the store and maybe everything and the shelves not being full. We're not used to walking into the grocery store, into the produce market, and instead of seeing all the beautiful colors of fruits and vegetables, we're not used to seeing empty shelves. So it does something to our psyche. But if we know, okay, I'm going to come in here and let me get the few things that I need because I got a stash at the house. I'm a believer of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I got me some rice and beans, and I'm good on that. I just came to get a few other things. Oh man, that's messed up that everything ain't in the store. Yeah, I know I have to be careful because the economy is going to change. Let me up the security in my car. Let me kind of adjust how I move. You're just maneuvering around what is happening. And you've been doing that your entire life. You've been doing that as a people since you've been on the planet, moving through life. So you don't have to trip. You don't have to freak out. You might be saying, well, you know what? I live in a neighborhood and it's getting dangerous over here. I need to move. Then start the process of trying to figure out how to get up out of there. Start the process. And don't sit there and believe that Allah would never. See, Allah is not a stagnant God. There's not one thing in the universe that is stuck or stagnant. Not one thing. Anything that gets stuck or stagnant, it's dead. So that's not the God we serve. We're riding on a planet. We're riding through a universe and we don't even feel a bump. So let's think about that flow. Do you really, really think that based on the laws of the universe, that God would say, I want you to be stuck. I don't accept that with any of my projects. I'm not going to be stuck. I'm not going to be stuck as a person. My life is not going to be stuck. I'm not going to be stuck in a rut. There's some kind of movement that I can do. I can either be preparing to move, or I can be moving slowly. I can be putting one step in front of the other, but I got to move if I want to stay alive. So if your church, your organization, your business, if they're just letting things sit and be stuck and be stagnant, that's because it's dead. I'm just telling y'all. So stop looking at the people around you who are stuck, who want you to be stuck with them. If they want to be stuck, let them be stuck. Stay stuck. But I can't be stuck with you because I'm not ready to die. And when it's my time, God gonna have to just do it because I'm not going willingly. Got a lot of stuff to do. So you live in a world that's moving. The seasons are changing. The earth is evolving. The earth is pulsating and the universe is pulsating. Everything is moving. If there are things in your body that stop moving, that means that it's dying. I get up, make sure I'm moving every single day. I had a sister say to me the other day, she saw me and she said, man, I didn't know you was kind of in shape, or I didn't know you look bigger on TV. This is how people evaluating your mind. I said, well, I'm a curvy girl. So if I wear flowy stuff, it makes a difference. But I'm tight. I'm good. And she was so busy with the evaluation. Well, I saw you on this and you had on that and I didn't know and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow. I don't even think I'd be that much into somebody else's stuff. But it happens. I'm saying that to say, keep it moving. Keep your body moving. Moving your body, that movement, that's the cure, that's the healing energy. Because your blood is healing. Your lymphatic system is healing. So move. Move, 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 move. I know a woman's strength is disrespectful. But I just handled it. I was like, all right. And then once I dealt with it, I just moved around it. But just move. You got to keep moving. Get up in the morning. If you're walking, if you're in a tight space and maybe you don't live somewhere where you can get out and move, I don't care. Do some jumping jacks, some push-ups. Get your body moving. And that's the same way you want to move through life. You got to move. You cannot sit there stagnant. Even when you stop to pray and meditate, you stopping to pray and meditate in between movements. In between movements. So don't let things just die out. Even if you got an old car, start the old car sometime. Drive the car around. Let somebody else keep it for a little bit so they can move it around. Get some movement to it. If you got another piece of property that you own, don't let the property just sit there stagnant. Go over there, have an event, have a dinner, do something. And don't let people who are comfortable with stagnation pull you down. Don't let them pull them non-circulatory hands on you and hold you down. You can do it. This recession ain't got nothing to do with you because you are a master mathematician and you can figure it out. All right, y'all, we over time today. All right, peace and blessings, family. Enjoy your Saturday. Y'all know what I always tell y'all to do. Don't chip and dip me. Go to $Mo today. Make a donation. If you want to book me for a consultation, click the link in the bio on any of my social media pages and you can book a session. You buy one, you get one free. I don't do a lot of individual clients anymore. So the fact that I'm opening this up is rare. And it's because of I'm working to manifest on some projects where my mind has to be at a certain level. And so sometimes having too many personal clients can impact that. But I have a certain number that I can handle. And so I'm opening that up for a while. I just picked up 2 others last week. So anyway, stay tuned for the real estate workshop that I'm going to be doing. We're going to be doing it somewhere, and we're going to broadcast it live so you all can check it out. And make sure, let me put this up here, that you are making a donation to the brand. Whether you go to sajdahhouse.com, you go to Mode Today, $Mode Today on the Cash App, $5, $10, $20, $100. Make sure that you're supporting the brand, because we do our best to bring quality things to you. And join the mailing list, okay? So that you all can be a part of everything. All right. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Sister Felicia says, stay prayed up and safe, family. Peace and blessings. Peace to everyone. All right. Love you all. I'm out of here for real this time. I'm not saying nothing else. I'm done. We gone. And just remember this.
Muslims, you shouldn't be around here looking to white people to give you a job. Go look in Message to the Black Man and the Economic Blueprint. And if there are 4 of you, 6 of you, 8 of you together, pool your resources, go into business and set up business all over the south and west side of Chicago. But if you poor and we poor, hell man, we can't be around here poor. I want to see rich Muslims. And if you obey Allah, there's no reason why you can't make a business successful. You just have to get up and stop being lazy and trifling and go do something for yourself.
Greetings, conscious entrepreneurs. You now can take the Mind of an Entrepreneur show wherever you go. I'm now available on Spotify. Just search Sajdah Wendy Muhammad.